Welcome back to the Real and Uncut podcast, where we discuss movies and rate them against the War of the Worlds, the Real 10 rating system. Today's episode is based around True Romance. This is a Russell pick. Russell picks all the movies for us, and so if you don't like them, blame Russell.
Yeah, blame Russell.
And I just want to say that I love you guys' matchy outfits today.
Twinning.
Yeah, I got a shirt, and Scott got a shirt that we both got from Dylan for free.
Dylan's
From
been
Labor Llama, this one that I'm wearing right here, we have a clothing company where we sell clothes for blue-collar men, and they got 2 blank shirts because we're too cheap to give them free shirts.
And I've been trying to get Dylan to give me a free Labor Llama hat for like 2 months, and I'm like, oh, man, you have to give me a hat one day. And Dylan will go, yeah.
Mike has all the free ones, so if you just steal from his box, nobody will know.
Oh, I can do that?
Yeah, they're the off-prints.
And he's not going to watch this, so like he'll never know.
He'll never know.
Fuck yeah. All right, True Romance.
So True Romance was originally released in 1993. The synopsis is, a shy comic shop clerk falls fast for a call girl and marries her within days. When he confronts her former pimp, things go violently sideways, and he ends up on the run to Hollywood with a suitcase of stolen cocaine, a mob boss's crew hot on his trail.
That synopsis just might as well just be the whole plot of the movie, which I guess that's what a synopsis is.
That's what it is.
All right, anyway.
I mean,
It just gave so much away. Excuse me.
well, and I think like the best way to start this is the tidbit that you told us before we watched it.
So this was the first screenplay that Tarantino wrote. He had that, and then he had written Reservoir Dogs afterwards. He's trying to get movies made. The screenplays were going around Hollywood. People wanted to buy them, but he was an unproven director. He'd never done anything. But he was adamant he wanted to direct one, so he wasn't selling them yet. He got up with Tony Scott, who did Top Gun and a lot of really popular like blockbuster-style movies.
Ridley Scott's brother,
Who did Alien. And was pretty much like, I'll give you one of these scripts if you help me make the other one as me being the director. So Tony Scott picked True Romance and then helped Tarantino make Reservoir Dogs. Excuse me. And the original script for True Romance had a whole section in the middle, where they're going across the country, like when they're going to L.A. There was an entire section where Clarence is writing a script in the movie. And the script he was writing ended up being the script for Natural Born Killers with Woody Harrelson.
That's cool.
This one was also the first actual script draft because Tarantino just had a bunch of, it's more like story. The first draft of the script was Robert Avery, who also wrote a lot of Pulp Fiction. And there's a lot of controversy around him and Tarantino wrote Pulp Fiction together.
Yeah.
And slowly Tarantino nudged him out as a writer credit, and now if you watch it, he only has a story credit.
Who's this?
Named Robert Avery.
Okay.
Was a writer. And so Pulp Fiction should say written by Robert Avery and Quentin Tarantino and directed by Quentin Tarantino. He wanted the written and directed by so bad that he eventually just pushed Robert Avery out and only gave him the story credit. This is not a knock on Tarantino, this is just what happened. But a little fun fact for you.
How do you know this hot gossip?
Because I'm online way too much, and I look up. I'm borderline autistic and obsessive when it comes to things I like.
He's our eidetic memory person.
Oh God, just for this, only for this.
Well, the thing
You okay over there, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, just take a little sip.
I hadn't seen this. And I don't know how I hadn't seen this movie. Because I think I'd heard about Tarantino writing this one, and I just forgot about it. Because it does have the beginnings of a lot of it had a lot of Tarantino-esque stuff in it. When he would direct. But I was just like, how many big names are in this thing? Because it's insane. Like, I was looking at, this list isn't even, when you go on to Wikipedia, it's like Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper, Val Kilmer, Gary Oldman, Brad Pitt, Christopher Walken. But there's, Samuel L. Jackson's in there for, a hot second.
Brad Pitt's barely in it.
Although he got a little bit more than I thought because he wasn't there that much. Yeah.
No, and that goes back to Ridley Scott and Tony Scott being brothers. Brad Pitt had done Thelma and Louise, which was a Ridley Scott movie. And on the set of Thelma and Louise, he had the script for True Romance. Ridley Scott did, and was kind of passing it around. And Brad Pitt read it and called Tony Scott and was like, "Can I be the stoner on the couch?" And I mean, that was after Thelma and Louise had come out, so he was already starting to skyrocket.
That's funny that he asked for that.
Yeah, he specifically asked for that.
That was a
role.
funny character.
I love it when he's just like, "Don't fucking condescend to me, man. I'll fucking kill you, man." Like, I love it. But he's so happy-go-lucky.
He's so happy-go-lucky as the
Yeah, because he's just like, yeah, whatever. Like the dude comes in there with a gun and he's like, "You want to smoke a bowl?"
I don't think that's happy-go-lucky. I think that's more like, what is it?
Aloof, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just there,
Just there.
enjoying life. But like he wasn't. I think happy-go-lucky is like uppy feeling instead of just.
That's a fair.
He was just riding the wave of life.
It was
So
such a good movie.
Yeah, the wildest thing is like, and I guess it's from like Pulp Fiction, but like the way that Christopher Walken always shows up in these movies, and like he's a gem. He is amazing.
There are so many things in this that almost feels like a prototype for Pulp Fiction. Because you have the one Christopher Walken scene that is remembered as like one of these scenes from the movie. Like the whole, "I hid this watch up my ass." So many people reference that.
Yeah.
And him and Dennis Hopper's scene in True Romance. And Tarantino's gone on to say, as far as like the stuff he's written that's been filmed, is probably the best scene of dialogue like between two people he's ever written.
Oh, that
In
one
his
in
opinion.
True Romance.
Yeah.
That was a pretty crazy scene.
And I might have so much backstory for a lot of this, but the story that Dennis Hopper is telling Christopher Walken about the Moors conquering Sicily, Tarantino heard that growing, like his mom used to date a lot of black guys, and they would take him to the blaxploitation movies and the barbershops, and he heard an old man telling the Moors conquering Sicily story just in conversation, and then years later writing this was like, "Oh, I'm gonna add this to my movie."
I think the wild thing is that, we did the episode on Interstellar previously. Hans Zimmer did the score for that one. True Romance. Hans Zimmer did the score for that. Like, he is just so prolific in how many, like, movies he does amazing scores for.
And it's different types of movies. He doesn't have just one niche that he sticks to. Like, he's all over the board.
Yeah, like,
Zimmer's great.
just to go through some of his file, he's got Interstellar, Gladiator, Inception, The Lion King, Dune Part 1, The Dark Knight, Dune Part 2, The Last Samurai, Top Gun Maverick, Pearl Harbor, Pirates of the Caribbean, Kung Fu Panda, like The Da Vinci Code,
Man of Steel.
And I don't know that these, like, he did like the whole score for, but like
Blade Runner 2049. That was a phenomenal movie.
just so many prolific movies he's a prolific composer. It's wild to see.
Yeah.
I mean, to go from Kung Fu Panda to this, or from this to Kung Fu Panda, is a pretty big jump. But he's great.
But then he did like Madagascar and like Mufasa, Spider-Man 2. Just insane. Crimson Tide, Mission Impossible 2.
Is that Boss Baby?
Boss Baby, yep. Kung Fu Panda
What a
4.
fucking legend, dude.
Rush, Days of Thunder, and I don't even think that's like all of his things. Let's see how many total.
I think
he's got.
Days of Thunder is another Tony Scott movie, if I believe correctly.
Oh, Days of Thunder.
Composer on 276 different films. He did the Lord of the Flies main theme and additional music. That's insane. That's one of those things like with films is how much everything kind of plays together. And, the only way that it's bad is if you really notice it. Like, I mean, the score should be fantastic and you should like pay attention to it. But if it takes you out of the story that's being told, it doesn't work. And I think that's one of the overlooked things is how much the sound design and the lighting and, all the teams working together creates an amazing film.
Well, I think that goes down to like, if people listen to any of our other podcasts, we had done a 48-hour film festival, and Dylan won Best Sound Design.
Yes, I'm
feeling like he didn't deserve it, but the thing is when you don't notice the sound design, that's when you know it's really good. And watching that, you don't notice, because there's no added music, but you don't notice how good he did on that, which is why it's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, you sent me that. I still have to watch it. I'm such a bad friend.
You are a terrible friend.
I'm a terrible friend.
I think I put it on the TV last time, but you
Didn't even
you had
notice.
drank your weight in bootleggers.
So I got it pulled up real quick. I just want to run through a few of Tony Scott's movies that he did. So he did not do Days of Thunder, but he did do Top Gun, Beverly Hills Cop 2. Oh, no, he did do Days of Thunder, excuse me. The Last Boy Scout, True Romance, Crimson Tide, Enemy of the State, Spy Game, Man on Fire, Domino, Deja Vu, Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3, and Unstoppable was the last movie.
Is Deja Vu the one with Denzel?
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite movies.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. Just at the time, like that one just like, I was like enthralled with that movie. I don't know why.
Well, for me, Tony Scott is one of those directors where he doesn't get as much recognition because he's not so, I don't even want to use the word avant-garde, but he's not Spielberg. He's not these other guys that are doing like really deep things sometimes. He makes amazingly fun popcorn movies. Mm-hmm. And there's a great line in True Romance where Slater's character is kind of talking shit about Hollywood. And he's like, all they make is unwatchable movies from unreadable books. And that is still going on. And then he starts talking about like that's a fucking movie. That, Taxi Driver, that's a fucking movie.
Some might say that's going on now a lot more than before.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I didn't realize this was such a flop though at the time. Like it's critically acclaimed, but at the box office, it
It didn't do well.
No.
Yeah, so it had a $12.5 million budget, and then it got $12.3 million domestic. So the return on investment was not good, but then after it built up the cult following. And I think it is one of those things where it is a fantastic movie that could get slept on, but once you realize like all the players and where they went to, so like all the actors that were in that and like where their careers went to after that, and then you have, the fact that Quentin Tarantino made Reservoir Dogs, but then Pulp Fiction comes out, and then going back to look at any of the backlog is you're going to, once you learn the style, and it isn't really Tarantino-esque in the way that Tony Scott did it, Tony Scott. It's not like you can't see the fingerprint of Quentin Tarantino, but then once you get into the dialogue and like the character and how they build the story, you can then start to see those fingerprints like from other movies that he's made and looking back on it.
I mean, there's a few things in here that are like, I already mentioned, like prototypes for later things. And there's a line in this one, excuse me. There's a line in this one where Christian Slater's character, Clarence, is talking, they're at the theme park.
Yeah.
And he tells the other guy, Elliot, he's like, do I look like, what does he say? Do I look like a blonde with beautiful big tits and an ass you could bounce a quarter off of? And he's like, well, why are you trying to fuck me? Like, why are you talking to me this way? And then that could be, and
Sam
then,
Jackson and
does he look like a bitch? And
why are you trying to fuck him like a bitch?
Exactly. So there's a few lines and elements like that can carry over to his other movies.
I do love that Samuel L. Jackson came in with the same MFer stuff. Like,
and it wasn't even like he didn't cast it.
No.
Tarantino didn't. He didn't direct it. And this is before Pulp Fiction, so they hadn't even worked together yet. So the fact that he was in this Tarantino script a year before becoming known to be, Tarantino's actor.
it was a cool part, like I was telling you earlier, but I was like, I did not expect him to die, like within seconds. I was like, no!
Oh, no, because he comes in and you're like, oh, Sam Jackson's here. This is great.
great.
Immediately killed.
So one of the funny things is Gary Oldman signed on to play the pimp without like even reading the script or anything like that. And then when he asked Tony Scott what the role was like, Scott described it as a white guy who thinks he's black. And Oldman said yes on the spot. He did so fantastic.
He
in
was
that role.
wild in that fight scene because he was just throwing his body, like wrecking his own place, like just acting like a maniac. Like he was very believable.
Oh, absolutely. Like he was very, very good.
I had to watch that scene twice because like so much stuff happened. I had to like back it up. I was like, what just happened?
Like, and that, to what Dylan is saying, like that is where you see the prototype of Tarantino, is that dialogue scene between the two of them and how fucking good that is. And then another fun fact, God, sorry for everybody listening. I'm like just gargling on spit over here. But he's got the one wonky eye in this movie. he had just done Dracula, and those were his contacts from Dracula. And so he was like, hey, I still have these like weird looking contacts. What if I just wear one? And then they're like, oh yeah, it looks cool.
See, he pulls out all the facts I'd never find.
Spent a lot of time looking up shit.
Tom Sizemore was originally supposed to play like the main hitman, but he didn't want to beat up Patricia Arquette, so he bailed and became one of the other hitmen.
And then he was the one that suggested Gandolfini for it because they were friends.
Yeah.
And Gandolfini was like, he wasn't really getting any roles. And so he's like, I'm not going to do this, but here, do my friend. My friend wants to do it instead.
That was such a rough scene.
That was intense. Because it wasn't like a bunch of action like at the end when everybody's just shooting each other. It was like she's getting the crap beat out of her. And there's some pretty violent, crazy stuff in that one.
And she just holds her own the whole time through. Like anybody else would have folded like a cheap suit, but the way that they wrote that character was like, she's just like, no, not telling you.
Even at the end, like she pulls the corkscrew out and he's just like, all right, give me one. And then, which is like, then she stabs him in the foot and he's mad. It's like, dude, you opened yourself up for her to stab you. And then you're going to be like, oh no. So I don't know.
Not my foot.
Did anybody else think that when she was in the tub and the glass broke that she might get him with the glass? Like I was trying to figure out what was going to happen with that, but nothing.
And then she hit him with the back of the toilet. That was fucking sick. And then caught him on fire.
Oh, that's a throwback to the Boondock Saints too. That's how they took out those mafiosos.
Oh, shit, that's right.
So if you're ever in a pickle and there's a toilet around, just grab it. And I've seen it happen many times in movies that'll kill somebody.
What, a lighter and hairspray or something?
That too. But I mean, if you get smacked over the head with that giant piece of porcelain, that's going to do some damage.
Yeah, because he wasn't going down very easy. I was like, she was hitting it, even though, I mean, she's a woman, yes, but she's hitting him like when he got hit in the head and he just kind of laughed it off. I was kind of like, okay, come on. Like,
But he's like 4 times her size, though.
But what did she hit him in the head with on the back of his head the first time? She hit him good with something.
It was like a statue, I think.
Yeah.
And
that stuff, you get knocked hit in the back of the head. I mean, doesn't matter how big you are, you know.
That's true.
Yeah, you knock that brain around and let it bounce off the skull. It'll take you out.
But his speech of the first time you kill somebody is such a good little speech too. It's like second time it's a little more, muted, and then he's like, now I just do it to watch their fucking expression change.
So I used to work with this guy at the mattress ticking factory that I worked at, and he would always bring in deer venison. Like he didn't like to eat it, and so I was like, why the hell do you spend all this time, money, and effort to like go out and hunt if you don't really like deer meat? And he's like, I just like to see the die and quiver. I was like, you, sir, could be a serial killer.
Yeah. Well, at least he translated it into
hunting
and giving the food, not just leaving the body there. He actually processes it. And
he'd only keep the backstrap, which is like the tenderloin, and he would keep that and eat it, but then all the rest of it. And so I got free venison. That was a good hookup there.
It's pretty dope.
Venison's delicious. You guys ever had it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a Youper. Of course I've had venison.
Like damn Yankee.
Youper,
for those not in the know, is the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
My homeland.
I didn't know that.
Now you know. See,
I'll be the good, auxiliary character for the audience when they don't know something. It's like, oh, Russell doesn't know either. He'll ask the question.
Yeah, I'm from Western New York. There's nothing other than upstate New York to New Yorkers, but there's a whole other state outside of that. And so I'm from, we're damn Yankees. Do you know the difference between a Yankee and a damn Yankee?
That was the band with Hagar, right?
So a Yankee comes down to visit and goes back home. A damn Yankee stays.
That's accurate.
Yep. So Scott and I are damn Yankees.
Yep.
So back to it.
What about funny moments?
Funny moments?
What were your because there were some good actual funny moments in that one. Although I have to say one of them was not seeing Christian Slater's butt. I was like, that was 12 minutes in. That was great. Gotta love the 90s.
Yeah, but you got to see some Patricia Arquette boob a little bit action going on. And this is like the peak of her attractiveness, I think, which she still is. She's a beautiful, gorgeous woman. But
you always got to bring it back to the sex.
I didn't make it about the sex. I just said she was attractive.
And her boobs.
Okay, I did say her boobs. Look, I'm just a guy. I'm just a dude, Dylan. I like dude things.
Like one of the things that made me laugh out loud was the whole peach thing. Because like later, Patricia kisses the dad. And he's like, oh, Does taste like a peach.
Oh, she's just smooching on him too, like tongue kissing.
All right, that's enough.
Yeah, what the fuck is that? There are a lot of really funny moments in this, but it is that Tarantino humor where it's not Anchorman where you're like, oh, but there is a lot of like the whole conversation between Walken and them is funny. The whole Gary Oldman thing before they fight is funny.
Yeah, a lot of long dialogue ones, and if it's more of a little line or two, it's like usually referencing something. Like that one was referencing something earlier. I always love those things when something comes back around in a different way. Like that's funny.
I love the I can't think of his name. Michael Rappaport had a good line in it, a funny line when Christian Slater's trying to get him to sell the cocaine for him, and he's like, "Well, I don't know those people. Like, I don't have that. All I have is a pot to piss in and fucking Floyd." Which Floyd is Brad Pitt's character.
Did you guys catch that he left his license there? Because I didn't until it came up later. That's how they tracked him, and I didn't even remember to think about that.
Well, it wasn't
No,
his
he didn't leave
license.
his
It
license.
was no. So he did at Gary Oldman's place.
He left his license
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I was just thinking it made sense to me that like, well, you came in screaming for her, and other ladies were left alive. Like somebody's gonna find out it was her and lead him to you.
He fucked up there.
Yeah.
And then he left his forwarding address to where he was going to in L.A. on his dad's fridge.
Yep.
Which the license is one of those good details where when you rewatch it, you see it.
Yeah.
But there's so much commotion that it's like
You don't think of that.
the sleight of hand thing where you can hide it in plain sight because you see it happen, but you're not thinking about it till it comes back around.
Yep. Well, that scene is so crazy. It's hard to. You don't really pick up on a lot of details because that was an insane scene. So
Yeah, absolutely.
you could hide almost anything there.
Yeah, I think when I saw the license, but I figured it was going to be like a police finding it, not the other mafia bosses. So, do you want to hear some random background facts?
Yes.
Yeah, let's see if I know these all.
So, Val Kilmer, Christian Slater, and the studio all had kind of like say in who got casted for things. Is what it's kind of saying here. But then they also considered Drew Barrymore, Bridget Fonda, Uma Thurman, and Julia Roberts for the role of Alabama.
So Arquette was saying that she's pretty sure that like the director was obsessed with Drew Barrymore and he had like pictures of her all around and like
Drew Barrymore I like her, but I do not think she could have played Alabama.
no, and I mean it wasn't barely 10 years removed from E.T. where she was a little kid, so like I don't know, it just
Those two had a similar look though, as in like I think the other two are way different looking.
Well, Uma Thurman definitely could have. I think she could have pulled it off.
Uma Thurman could have pulled it off, but Patricia Arquette pulls off the innocentness of Alabama.
She's bubbly, and
Yeah.
that's. I don't know if I've ever seen Uma bubbly. Could be wrong.
What other fun facts you got?
So it originally flopped in its original theatrical release against a roughly $12.5 million budget, but has since become one of the more celebrated cult classics of the 90s. Which, yeah, you've told me about it, and I've seen it, like, people have talked about it, but it's not one of those ones that I ever thought to, like, actually watch until I knew, and I hate to say this, but, like, until I knew that Quentin Tarantino wrote it, like, it's just another movie to me. But then once you know that, like...
It's a part of his lexicon.
Yeah, which I've heard a lot of people, like, kind of start shitting on Quentin Tarantino because a lot of his ideas are taken as reference or pretty copied from other films. And my take on that is like, I think they were saying like Kill Bill was very highly influenced by other like Japanese movies. And I was like, well, I wasn't going to watch the Japanese movie. So like if he made a remake, and like I guess that you should give credit where credit is due. So he should say inspired by blah, blah, blah. But for me, like I wasn't going to watch the movie that he watched to get inspired to make that film. I want to watch his film because that one's made for an American domestic audience. And so,
And you can see that in the beginning of the True Romance where it's all about Sonny Chiba and the Street Fighter. Like there's the references, like you already see he's a fan of these things 10 years before he even makes Kill Bill.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like everybody knew that the Kill Bills were a nod to a lot of that stuff. I mean, it's not like
I mean, The Matrix was a nod to all those things too. It's just it didn't tell it in the same type of way. Like they did all the wire work that all those samurai and kung fu movies did. They just did it in a different packaging.
Yep. A weird. I don't know if you guys ran across this, but Christian Slater admitted to having been romantically involved with Patricia while shooting, even if only for a short time. So he talked about that nude love scene they had together, and he was like, it was really special.
I bet it was.
He goes, I lost sight of the crew being around. It was the first time nothing on the outside really mattered. And I was like, you could say some of that, but I was like, hey, that's a little creepy, guy. It was really
She was vibing the same way, you know.
It happens so much in movies though that the two leads end up together. Like, you know, in Dexter, Dexter and his sister Deborah, they got married in real life, and
I did not know that.
And then before the series was done, they got divorced.
Yeah, they got together, married, divorced, and then 8 seasons.
And then they had to play, you know, characters apart from each other while like divorced.
And I hated the final season of Dexter mainly for the Deb is in love with Dexter storyline. But I think it's funny that they waited until they divorced in real life, and then like now we're gonna make your characters have
That's just cold.
weird, yeah. But I do back to the lead actors though. I think which for them it was different because they're brother and sister. I think a lot of times you cast
Are you
these
from West Virginia? Is that okay?
That's fair. But there's a lot of
Like
you cast
the
these
banjo
people
one?
because they have good chemistry. Like, oh, they have good on-screen chemistry together, and then, well, of course they're gonna end up wanting to fuck or go out or something if they have that kind of chemistry, and then you're already playing this romantic parts together.
Yeah, I think that's where I've seen or I've heard different people talk about like the endorphins and things like you get from like the reason why we fall in love is very chemically based, and like you have to have these certain markers that will end up like meaning that your relationship will work out. Well, if you're playing that on screen and you're mimicking all these like falling in love and being close, and so like you have to do eye contact, and once you get to all those things, it's kind of destined that people will develop feelings for each other because they are doing the things to mimic love, which actually creates a love for them.
I did the local youth theater around here in high school, and we were doing Christmas Carol, and there was this guy. And
you fell in love.
Yeah, me and him, we're still together to this day. God, I'm sorry about my throat today. That's what she said. Anyway, there's a guy in the play, and he was Tiny Tim's dad, whatever Tiny Tim's dad.
You okay over there, Scott?
Whatever Tiny Tim's dad's name is or whatever. He's playing that, and then there's a scene when him and his wife, whatever, they have a kiss. And so he's supposed to have a kiss with this other actress. Well, his girlfriend was also in the youth theater. And she was not having it. She was like, I do not want them kissing. And she was just like crying about it to the point where the director's like, all right, they can just hug. It's fine. Like, we'll just hug and move past it. After that play, her and her boyfriend, who was playing Tiny Tim's dad, ended up breaking up. He got with the girl he was supposed to kiss, and they are still married to this day.
Mm-hmm.
She knew something deep in her heart, like as soon as their lips touched, there's no going back.
She called it.
Oh, she did. I give her credit where credit's due.
And I was looking at some of these facts and kind of back to, I think something you said, Dylan, about like so many people. It's not just the writing of Tarantino or, the directing that came later, but like all the actors that went to different things. It legitimately, James Gandolfini landed the role of Tony Soprano because of this movie, which makes total sense. I wasn't sure the timing of that. Mm-hmm. So apparently the casting director, Susan Fitzgerald, saw a short clip of his performance in True Romance. So he ultimately got that role ahead of 2 other people.
Nice.
So,
see, I didn't know that one.
yeah. Ooh.
Crazy.
See, my goal now is to find facts he doesn't know.
I will give you one. If Tarantino would have directed it, Clarence would have been Michael Madsen, which I don't think would have worked. Michael Madsen is he's the, I can't remember the character name, but he's the one that cuts the guy's ear off in Reservoir Dogs, and he's also in Hateful Eight, Kill Bill.
I think it would have worked fine. Like, and this is the part where, I disagree with a lot of people is I think Robert Pattinson could have been, like in the day and age, like I don't think that the role kind of changes and the movie changes. Ultimately, it'd be a different movie. But I think we fall in love with the way that the character's played, but another actor could play say in The Departed, like you could have swapped Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio. Either of them could have played those parts.
Yeah.
And then, you could take Jack Nicholson and put him in for Christopher Walken in this, and like he could have played the part. And then like it's not. I think he probably could have played the part. It would have been a different style movie. Like it would have had a different feel to it, but it would have been.
Doesn't mean like different doesn't mean bad. So like it still would have been good. I just think Slater and Arquette have that magic in this movie together where yes, it would have been a good movie. It could have been a great movie with other people, but just I do have to acknowledge that they are magical together.
Which I am talking out of my ass because earlier I was like Drew Barrymore, but like I do not think Drew Barrymore has the same depth to her acting. Like I don't know of a movie that she even gets close to what Alabama's style is, and
because like Drew Barrymore can play sweet, but Alabama's more than just sweet. Like she's a sweet, fun Southern lady. She was also a prostitute.
Yeah, and got the shit kicked out of her,
and just took it like a champ, dude.
Seeing Drew in that would be interesting.
I can't see her in that intense of a scene like that.
No,
it's just not. I don't think it's in her wheelhouse.
Which she hasn't been cast for anything like that, so maybe it is one of those things where she could rise to the occasion and play that. But
maybe it's unintentional. Maybe she's been offered those roles. I mean, she was offered this role in True Romance and turned it down.
Please, baby, please.
Yeah, he's got pictures of her all around his locker like he's in high school. Like, come on, baby, please do my movie.
Will you play in this movie? Circle yes or no.
I think the last one I found.
Circle yes or no.
I think the last one I found for like just funny connections, and this was just an inspirational one, but apparently Brad Pitt's stoner character was the inspiration for making the film Pineapple Express, according to Judd Apatow, who was the producer.
Oh.
They thought it'd be funny to make a movie in which you follow that character out of his apartment and watch him get chased by bad guys. I never would have thought that, because to me there's probably a bunch of other stoner characters, so it's cool that was the character.
Well, Pineapple Express, fun fact, is they swapped the roles before production started.
Oh, really?
Because it was supposed to be Seth Rogen because he was known as the pothead. So he was going to be the stoner, and James Franco was the straight man. And they're like, everyone expects that. Let's swap it. And now you watch it, and you can't imagine it the other way.
No.
It would not have worked as well.
Well, because I couldn't imagine Seth Rogen. Like, he still, like, got his shitty qualities in that movie. But, like, I think him being the drug dealer, shitty qualities, I don't think it fits his like persona.
It's too stereotypical slimy drug dealer if he's playing that character.
And I don't think he really fits that role as like the wheelhouse that he has and the way that he plays. Like he's more the innocent fuck up than he is like which now, the shit coming out about James Franco, like you're like, oh. Yeah. Like, I mean, and that was Mike and I were talking about that movie at one point because he does not like it. And he says that they're irredeemable. I don't think either of them play like an irredeemable character. They're just fuck ups that like, think they're doing all right, but they're fucking up miserably the whole time.
Yeah. And I do think there's something to not every, because we've had this conversation with Mike a lot, not every character needs to be redeemable, even if it's main. I mean, you look at, we'll do a little teaser for Obsession. Like there's a character in there that it's not that redeemable. But you don't have to in the movie going, oh, I'm for this guy. You can watch a movie and go, I hated everything the characters did. Still had a great time watching this movie.
Well, yeah, like because I mean, ultimately, if he becomes redeemable, it's a different movie, and you can end that movie with him irredeemed, and it's still like nothing is broken about the movie. Like,
and you think about this movie with Clarence's character. He does a lot of irredeemable things. He's doing them to bad people, but he's going and intentionally being antagonistic towards Drexl and killing a man, and then he gets the cocaine, and instead of just being like, oh, fuck it, like,
drop it somewhere.
I guess I better sell it so I can get some money. And he does this whole thing, and it does lead to people getting killed. And he's intense. Dude, the scene in the elevator when he holds the gun on the guy, and I think it's Tom Sizemore or Chris Elliott or Chris Penn They're like, "You're an actor." There's Tom Sizemore. He's like, "You're an actor. Act, motherfucker." It's one of my favorite lines in the whole movie.
That's a Team America. Back to that.
Yeah. I thought of that when we did the first 48, and I'm like sitting there between scenes, like I was giving myself that pep talk, going, "You're an actor. Act, motherfucker."
I'm gonna admit something really funny, and I'm a little confused by it about this movie. I don't know where Val Kilmer was.
He was Elvis.
Yeah. He was the voice that talked to Christian Slater the whole time.
No wonder, because I'm like, I never saw him, and I'm like,
Yeah, you
where
don't
is he?
really see
You
him.
don't see his face. They cut his face off.
Yeah, they couldn't get the clearance for Elvis, so that's why he never calls him Elvis. They don't show his face because he looked like Elvis.
Yeah, I didn't research that, so I was curious if you guys knew, because I was like, was he like a bit part I just missed? Like, that's what I was thinking.
He's just the voice in his head.
That makes more sense now.
He wanted to play Clarence so bad.
Really?
And Tony Scott's like, "No, I want Christian Slater." So then he played Elvis. He's barely in the movie as Elvis. Tony Scott said he would call him at, like, he'd wake up like 3 a.m, do a phone call, and it would just be Val Kilmer singing Elvis songs. It's like he was really something about, and it's funny because he's barely in it, but he vibed with this script in this movie so hard he was willing to do whatever little bit part just to be a part of it.
Did you see the AI movie that they made with Val Kilmer? They made, I think they're finishing it up, but they made a movie where they reprised his likeness through AI to have him act in a movie.
Oh, whoa.
And
Even
I mean,
though
his
he's dead.
family gave the okay, but I still am not okay. I don't vibe with that idea at all.
No, like I was telling Dylan before, like I like, when it comes to AI and like video stuff, like I like like fandom shorts, fun stuff, because you know what it is. And it's not trying to be that so real that it fakes us, but it's like, oh, this is cool. We're kind of getting to see what that would look like. I like that kind of stuff. But I'm like, man.
It's like a proof of concept.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like, I listen to a local radio show, and they have a new segment on there, and they've got different theme songs, and they're all AI generated. And that because you're putting it out there, and this is a product, and you're making money off of it from ad revenue, I have a little bit of an issue with making AI theme songs for your radio show, but I mean, to each their own, I guess.
I'm a huge AI fan for a lot of things, but like when it comes to the creative space, it's like, I used to play guitar in bands. Like, I appreciate real musicianship, like being involved in the film and video industry. It's just like, I'm not as big on it in those.
I think it creates a scenario where you get a lot of lackluster stuff because AI does like kind of cheat to the middle. It takes the best and the worst of everything. And then so like when you are making music, like it is a reprise of somebody else's like actual art, and you're taking it, and then you can shit out 10 songs that they're all right. None of them are bangers. And like a regular artist would have to do 10 songs on an album, and 2 or 3 of them might be just absolutely phenomenal. And then some of them are just like, yeah, they're a decent listen. But like you can make a whole album of decent listens from AI without putting in any of the actual like sweat equity of learning the craft, learning how to structure a song, make a hit, write deep lyrics that people vibe with. Like you take all that away and anybody can do that. And it's not like that you shouldn't, but it's just like at a certain point, like we've got thousands and thousands of movies that we can review on this podcast. But then as soon as AI starts being a thing for making movies, there'll be thousands per year of crappy AI movies that will be put out.
But it's like anything, it'll get pushed to the side.
Well, I mean,
the cream always rises to the top, as you learned yesterday, Dylan.
Yep. And I mean, and a quick side note, I mean, that's how AI models are trained. It's like billions of parameters. Like it's trained on a swath of everything. It's not like it's trained on the best stuff.
No.
Now you can push it, but it's
The
it's
amount
still,
of Reddit that fed into the
Oh,
AI
yeah.
is like insane. And like, I mean, when you Google anything, the AI overview is like 90% Reddit. So if you write some bullshit thing for the Real and Uncut podcast, like we could write a glowing review or a scathing review on Reddit, and Google AI will be like, Reddit's trustable. Let's put this in here.
If you Google Mike's name, the AI mentions a podcast that he doesn't even do anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He did a podcast before?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He didn't, yeah. He had a life before you.
It's on
The one good thing, though, or an idea about AI I've seen is there's a very famous manga called Hunter x Hunter, and it's a very famous anime as well. And the artist, the manga the creator, has had a lot of health issues. So hasn't. I mean, this series has been going on since like '97, I think. So it's the same time frame as One Piece, and has maybe a third of the content because he keeps having all these issues where he can't draw. And so he had proposed. He's like, I'm not saying I'm gonna do this. He's like, but is it ethical for me to take a clean AI program that hasn't been exposed to anything, expose it to only his drawings, only his artwork, put all the storyboards in it, and then have the AI program finish the series? So it's like, do you want to rely on AI for him to finish a series, or do we just want to have an incomplete series that's been going on for 30 years and will probably never wrap?
Well, and see, that's a tool, and that's really ultimately, like, that's the problem with, like, Suno and all these other ones where it's taking somebody else's work and then you get to pass it off as your own. And, like, with his, if he were to train it on his stuff and make it in his style, as long as he's not using it for, like, the story points and shit like that.
No, because he's already written all the story.
Yeah.
He just physically can't do it, and then he'll be like, all right, I can do it. Then he might not put out a thing for 4 or 5 years. He'll put out 4 months of chapters, and then he's like, I can't do it.
But in the same right, like, you could just get an apprentice to draw in your style and, like, keep that going on with a real person as well. So it's
I do agree with that. I think part of it might come to he doesn't want to let somebody else do it, and the other part, and this is me, I have no idea what he thinks, but Dragon Ball Z did that where they got a new artist to do a sequel series, and doesn't matter that the art's great or not, it's always going to be compared to the one before. So maybe he's just trying to spare a young artist from having his entire career painted as the guy that fucked up Hunter x Hunter.
Only we could have segued into AI somehow from True Romance. I expected it in Interstellar.
You did. Or no, actually, I did.
Yeah, I was like, don't blame me.
I'm gonna blame you for everything, Scott. That's your role on the show, is to take the heat. But yeah, so the Val Kilmer movie is called As Deep as the Grave, and it uses the likeness of Val Kilmer.
There was one of my favorite internet jokes from the past few years when AI first was becoming a big thing. And I don't know how much, Scott, you follow basketball, but there was a basketball player in the 2000s, Allen Iverson.
Mm-hmm. Yep, huge basketball guy.
Everybody called AI. So when all this artwork is coming out, I saw these people post like, God, dude, Allen Iverson can draw his fucking ass off.
That's funny. Yeah, through the 90s and 2000s, I was pretty big into it. Like, I grew up playing a lot, but I don't watch it much anymore.
I mean, I don't know why. Like, you're kind of short for the game. Only 6'9". Like, you might as well just hang it up there, big boy.
I'm a late in life basketball fan. I got into it about 4 years ago.
I still like March Madness. I'll still watch some of that. But any other thoughts on True Romance?
I mean, I feel like there's so much more we could talk about with this movie, but it is just great writing, great acting, great directing. I do think this is one of those movies that benefits from the original script was laid out the way Pulp Fiction's laid out, where it jumps around. And I think when you look at something like Pulp Fiction and compare it to Django, I think Django is stronger because it doesn't do that. Even though it was cool, it's like a fun gimmick. And I think this movie works. And you never know because we didn't see it, but I feel like this movie works better as a linear.
Yeah, I vote on the, like, it probably still would have been fantastic the way that it was laid out. Just because, you know, you do look at Pulp Fiction, you look at Django, you look at Inglourious Bastards, you look at Hateful Eight, you look at, you know, and Kill Bill, all of the movies, like, it isn't necessarily just the jumbled timing that makes the movie. It is those stories could be told sequentially and it'd still be fantastic. But it's you're following. It's kind of like a series when it gets to past the first couple episodes where everybody kind of breaks off and starts doing their own things. And now you're keeping up with multiple stories. And at the end, you get it all resolved. And so I think True Romance, if it was split up the same way Pulp Fiction, it still would have worked. You know, we'd have to see both movies to see. And I wonder if there's an original script where you could just go back in and cut the scenes and put them in the order that they were in the original script.
I'm sure somebody's done that. It's like on a hard drive they won't release. But
you know, back in the day, the whole theory on Wizard of Oz, playing it with Pink Floyd. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, syncing it up.
Yeah, I did that when computers were able to, like, burn DVDs, and I downloaded the Wizard of Oz and Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon album and stuck them together and smoke weed and watch it.
Well, Do you have to like cycle that? Because how long is the album? Is the album the length of the movie?
Repeat.
It money kicks on at right as it switches from black and white to color, and then it just like kind of stops at a certain point.
Yeah.
But like I mean that's
I feel like the first time through, I remember, I was like, the first time seems to really be eerily synced.
Yeah.
And it kind of starts drifting after that because it repeats. And
I never repeated it. It basically once the album stopped, I stopped the movie.
I got you. See, I've never done it. Like I've always heard about it, and like the lunatics in the grass when he's falling around. And stuff.
Well, and they say that like they wrote it to do this, and they did not. It's just like that is the Scott knows when you're picking out stock music or picking out what you're gonna put behind a video, changing it from like this vibe to this vibe, it still works. It's just a totally different video. Like just changing that music in the background changes the whole vibe of a movie or a video. So like you take any album and play it next to a movie, and you can be like, oh man, you see it matched up there? Because like
find it.
Yeah, the beats are there, and so you're listening to it, and like it does work fantastically, but it wasn't like they made it for it.
No, I think it's just one of those happy accidents. Like I mean, you edit. I think you probably like do some editing. Sometimes you edit something and you have the song behind it, and you're still working. And I haven't edited the second part yet. And I'm kind of watching it through, and I'm like, oh man, that beat hits with that moment. And I didn't even intend for those to sync up. So sometimes it's just a happy accident.
Yeah, Scott's probably got 10 times your editing on the chair.
I'm sure.
We haven't talked about that.
He's got hundreds of videos under his belt, thousands probably.
Yeah, at this point.
You see, mine were always just hobby, and then I'm actually doing it for work now. But
yeah, your bosses are dicks.
Fucking dicks, dude. Which I did have a sync up music moment. Me and my friend were on acid, and we were watching. Like she'd started to kind of have a bad trip, and I moved her to another room, and I turned on TV. We're flipping through. I turned on Modest Mouse, and it's just like real calm. And we're like relaxed, and so it's
picking
like
on series of Modest Mouse.
Yeah, just the normal Modest Mouse, not the bluegrass version.
The better version.
And but we're like, I'm getting her kind of coming back down, and she's not freaking out. And so I've got the TV on mute, and I'm flipping through, and it lands on Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. So you got Modest Mouse and Mickey Mouse, and they're syncing up. And because they both have the word mouse in them, we are like, oh my fucking God, Mickey's walking to the tune of Float On. Like, it was so awesome. So that was my Pink Floyd Wizard of Oz experience.
Yeah, they actually wrote their album to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
I could see old Brock doing that. All right, do we have anything else we want to add about Romance?
We got to rate it.
Rate it, yeah.
I mean, I'm giving... Do I want to give it the same rating I gave Interstellar?
I don't know. I'm not in your brain.
I'm giving this movie 1. Fuck it.
I'm a 2. Like it's definitely up there. It's a great movie. I would have liked to seen it directed and created. Like it's a great movie. I'm not giving it like any down votes because it's Tony Scott, but it is one of those movies where since Quentin wrote it, I would love to see what he would have done with it.
How cool would that be if that's what his 10th movie is?
That'd be insane.
He's like, I'm going to remake... Because he already said he thought about doing that with Reservoir Dogs to see how far he came as a director. But if he did that with True Romance, I would fucking shit.
Yeah, he could just remake any of his movies and I'd be like, I watch it.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff that I've seen and heard like over the years, like, and this is why I don't like when people put people on pedestals. Like I don't have to like Quentin Tarantino, the human, to like his art. And, there's certain shady shit that happened with like Weinstein and other like people that he defended. And I think he said it was like tongue in cheek, but still it's like fucked up. Like this guy, director, somebody in the film world, like raped a 13-year-old girl and like Quentin defended it. He's like, oh, she wanted it. And it's like, no, she's a child. You can't. Yeah. And like, it's like weird takes on like that. And that's why I don't like to put people on pedestals. Like I still respect him as a director and the art that he's created, but I don't necessarily have to defend him as Quentin Tarantino, the human, to like the art that he's made.
No, he's one of those artists where like I love almost everything he's ever done, and I think he's one of the greatest directors in modern history. I don't know if I want to hang out with him a lot though.
I mean, I don't know. That's one of those situations where, but then also it is like, what bad things has he physically done or just had really shitty takes on things. And so, with us sitting around in this format, like somebody says something weird and then you respond to it. and then now that's all somebody judges you upon versus like the whole depth of your character.
Especially if you said it versus they're reading it. Like I can say like, oh yeah, better that, and I've got a sarcastic tone, and then you read it and you're like, oh, he was serious. Like stand up. If you read stand up, it sounds so awful and mean.
Yeah.
But when you hear it, you're like, oh, this is fucking funny. So
Context.
it could be, yeah. What do you give True Romance, Scott?
I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Wow.
But I'm not dogging on it. It's just one of those things where like I think it's great. I think it was the beginning of a lot of stuff. A little underdeveloped probably, but still high for me. So
You just can't give a solid number, can you?
hey, I gave it 5 once and a 1.
He did. He's given
Better than
2 solid
0.5
numbers.
to me is acceptable
You could
over
do a
like
0.8.
0.85.
Yeah, you need to get down to like the thousandths or tens of thousands.
Move those decimals.
This was a 3.56232 for me.
Repeating.
If we give something an 11, you're like, this is dog shit.
It's gonna come where somebody's going to. So we
Dethrone.
haven't really dove into this in this episode, but our scale is from War of the Worlds bad, which is a 10, all the way to like the greatest movies of all time.
As a 1.
And to clarify, it's the Ice Cube version of War of the Worlds. Because
Yes.
a lot of people, I didn't even know that existed until you told me.
Yeah.
The Tom Cruise version wasn't that bad. With Spielberg, I think, made that one.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, well.
So
Next week, we're doing...
next week we're gonna do Obsession, but to finish this out, we like to recommend one of our either recent. We like to recommend something for you to watch. So mine this week is Outsiders series. It only aired for 2 seasons. It had a IMDb of 7.4 and a TV Guide of 63%. So this was based on some people that lived, I think it was in Kentucky. Yeah, they lived in the hills of Kentucky, and they basically did not integrate with society. And so it's like this wild feral family, and their name is actually the Ferrells. And it has
Is Will in it?
Will Ferrell? No. So where's it doesn't say the guy's name who played the lead, but it's the guy
Ryan Hurst.
Yeah, Ryan Hurst. He played Opie in Sons of Anarchy, and then he played in that Bates Motel.
Mm-hmm.
He's
He's also playing Kratos in the God of War movie or show.
That football movie, Friday night or no?
Yeah, Friday. No,
The Longest.
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
Yeah, he was in. There's a lot of good. Like that's a movie when you go back and like at the time there was like, oh, there's a few names in this, and then you go back and rewatch it, you're like, this movie is stacked.
Yeah. And so I really like his character throughout all of like what he does. I just like his persona that he kind of lives in. But it's a real interesting story about I think they're trying to mine coal on the mountain, and so they have to kick these ferals out, and the ferals have their own like inner family dynamics that they're fighting with each other, but then they're also fighting with like modern society, and then the modern society is fighting with the coal company. And so it's a really cool show, and I was kind of sad when it stopped after 2 seasons.
You've told me about this show a few times.
It's fun.
What is it
stinks when you got something really fun that you really, really like and it ends early.
Let me see if I can find where you can stream that one at. I think I went and looked it up recently.
I haven't seen that one.
I hadn't either. He was talking about it last week. It made it sound super cool. And I like Ryan Hurst. I mean, he was one of those characters on a show where it's like, spoiler alert for Sons of Anarchy. But when his character gets killed, you're like, I don't even want to keep watching this fucking show
how I
anymore.
felt. Yeah, because like he was the ultimate good to back up Jax, and like so the whole time I was like he's the person that needs to stay to keep guiding him in the right direction. And then Tara kind of took over being the main one for that, but and then what happens to her?
Who took my baby? Anyway.
But yeah, you can stream this one on Tubi for free.
Nice. Ooh, I love a good Tubi movie. All right, we on my pick?
Yeah, what you got for her?
I recently rewatched this movie for about the 50th time. It's Walk Hard, a Dewey Cox story. It's 2007, starring John C. Reilly. It was the height of the parody movie. Like they were making like 10 parody movies a year. So I think at the time it didn't go off. It didn't, but it's one of those that's become, I don't know, considered a cult classic, but it's one that time has been very kind to and people look on very kindly now. But it's just a parody of Walk the Line and all of the music biopic type movies. but while also telling an interesting story, even though it's the story you've seen 50 times in 50 other movies. They do it in a funny way. It's endlessly quotable. I think it's up there, if not higher than Anchorman, as far as like almost every line in this movie is quotable.
Ooh, that's a big statement to me.
I mean, this is my favorite comedy. Like,
So it was a flop.
yeah, it was a big flop.
20.5 million worldwide against a $35 million production budget.
But dude, they wrote an entire album. It's not just like they wrote like, oh, we're gonna write the score and a soundtrack. They wrote an entire album of original music that is used throughout the whole movie. They play full songs almost. It's very musical. It's very funny. Just my style of humor. If you like silly, if you like that whole 2000s era of dumb comedies, this is to me like the Mount Rushmore of those. Like it's on there for sure.
Do you remember the Spinal Tap family? There's a bunch of those ones where they like it was Spinal Tap, and then some of them were like they all crossed into different ones. There was one where that was like it was all about they were in a band or whatever.
Spinal Tap.
No, well, I know. No, there was another one where it was more like a grassroots kind of folky thing. It was one of those things that you were just reminding me of that a little bit, even though I know it's not the same. But
I can't think of I think I know.
I know I can't think of it because I'm mind blanking on it. But because there was a few movies that were kind of related, because a lot of them were in these series of movies, even though they're not really a series. It was kind of like they were loosely related. Mm-hmm. There was like 3 or 4 of them. I don't remember. But
so, what's your movie, Scott?
I'm gonna pick another series. I've done 3 series in a row now. I tend to be watching a lot of series. I watched this. So this is one I rewatched, and I binged it a couple months ago because this is on Stars, and there was like a free promotion of Stars. So I'm like, oh, I'll sign up for a year. It was like you get it free for a year.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what all other shows are on there, but I was like, so this is Spartacus.
Yeah.
And this is one of my favorite all-time shows because it's like, I don't know why, I love the whole
shirtless guy, sweat.
Well, the whole gladiator thing and, the Roman Empire and all that stuff. And But so this one's basically a Thracian warrior who's enslaved and forced into gladiatorial combat. And after losing his wife, he leads a massive slave rebellion against the Roman Republic, going from a single arena champion to an army commander before his tragic final battle with Marcus Licinius Crassus. But this one is a little interesting because, it was a little bit sad too, because the main actor in the first season ended up getting cancer. And so they did a prequel as the second season while they were waiting to see how he could do. And then he tragically passed. So they had to get a different actor to play him in the next 2 seasons. But just a great story. There is a ton of crazy nudity in it. So
you said this is on Stars?
Rape and orgies.
Yeah,
Stars, right?
Stars.
It's true to the times, and it's so trigger warning. Like if you're not,
Russell has to watch it for research purposes.
yeah, this guy will watch it.
That's like I would have watched that Riddick movie 10 years ago. Somebody told me.
But the story's great, the fighting's great. There's a lot of good characters. That one was so great, and that was my second time watching it. I just was like, oh, I'm gonna binge this again. And fun fact, they. Related to this story, they kind of did an alternate timeline. They just released a newer season of a Spartacus something other name. I don't know what it is right now, but it's a new 1-season series where it's like an alternate timeline if this one guy who was a traitor had actually like killed Spartacus or something. But then it's the story of him in this particular house.
That's
so
pretty cool.
They just did that one like in the last year or two. So still the same style. They kept the style pretty close.
I'd be cool with that for remakes if they're like, kind of a Butterfly Effect style remake of like, what if instead of this being this happened instead, like change the inciting incident of the same movie.
You're cool with that as long as they keep all the nudity and sex scenes and the rape and all that stuff.
Yeah, of course. I didn't know I had to say that.
Just don't lose that.
Yeah.
You can Butterfly Effect it, but don't lose what made it.
That's why I've never. What was that? What was your show called? Outlander.
Outsiders.
Outlander. That's the. I've heard that's like Rape the TV show.
Oh, really?
And the thing is, I wanted to check it out because it's David Chase who did. Or no, not David Chase. David Chase is Deadwood. The guy who made the new Battlestar Galactica went on, and then like he was a showrunner for that, and then he did this Outlander. So I was like, ooh, that seems like I loved. Battlestar Galactica is one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. It was like in that era of when things were starting to go from being episodic to serialized, like everything had a like Lost, where if you miss one episode, you don't know what's going on. Yeah. So I was gonna check it out, and then somebody's like, "Oh, it's just Rape the TV show," and I'm like, I don't really care to watch that. I guess but they says like every season that's like a major plot point.
Oh, jeez.
Like Sons of Anarchy did it with Gemma's character, but it's like if you do it once or twice and it becomes story relevant, like because all these people are getting killed now.
Yeah.
But, all right, so we're doing Obsession next week.
Yeah, next week will be Obsession. We will cover this absolute hit movie that surprised box offices. It was a very low budget, and it is still doing crazy numbers. So we're going to jump on that train a couple months late for the review on it, but it is one of those things where you should watch it, and then we'll discuss it. There'll be a lot of spoilers if you haven't watched it, but
technically we're recording it next week. We weren't going to release it next week, but we can.
well, when they hear it, it'll be next
When
week.
they hear this, it'll be the next week.
Yeah. See, I just inceptioned myself.
So with Interstellar and the time dilation, Scott is trying to do the math on how all these play together. And if we go around the black hole there, every minute counts as 3 days. And
We've been doing this for hours, but it's really been 5 years.
But yeah, so next week it will be Obsession, and we are excited to go over that one with you.
Yeah. That's all I got.
All right. You guys have a good one. Appreciate y'all watching.
Later.